In last class itself, we have discussed the unit 2 content, business promotion or company promotion, how you can do. So in last class itself, we have discussed what are the content involved this particular chapter, this particular unit. That is basically the when we can call the title. So if you see any movie and serial, there is a title song that will be there, right? So if you go for any unit like this, there is a basic, the tax planning and company promotion. First we have to go for a meaning of it, right? What exactly tax planning it is, even though we have studied already, but the basic beginning of this particular unit purposes, we need to go for a basic concept of a tax planning. What are the different kinds of a tax planning, right? And what are the advantages of tax planning, what are the features, main objectives of a tax planning. Then we will go for what tax avoidance, what it is, tax evasion, what exactly tax evasion refers to, isn't it? And what exactly tax management, tax avoidance, tax evasion, and tax planning. There is a the consolidated page is there. In that you can able to see what exactly difference between these three, right? So that we will see, and if possible we will discuss business location and tax planning, nature uh, of a business and tax planning. What are free trade zones, units, what are the different units in special economic zone. So when we can call 100% export oriented units, that we will discuss. There is a separate section is there, 10A and 10B, like that sections are there. And what the deductions, exemptions, concession they that will get that new business, if they the person, any person is wanted to start a new business, wanted to commence any new business, there is a conditions, there is a opportunities, there is a deductions, exemptions are there for a newcomers or new startup. That we will study in trade zone. Or free trade zone is also known as foreign trade zone, in the sense that which is away from the foreign authority or tax authority. So it will be a flowing of a goods and services from that particular region, that we will discuss. And export oriented units and infrastructure development, which comes under the specific uh, areas, a specific region. What are all the tax considerations are there, that we will discuss in this particular unit. Okay, so let us start from beginning. That is, what is tax planning? You know that, right? Tax planning, it's a proper plan to save your tax liability or reduce your tax liability with a legal consideration or legal obligations. What are all those as per the Income Tax Act, isn't it? So what all the exemptions, deductions, availability, opportunities, concessions you will get from that particular authority, and how you can able to save by the proper planning. That is nothing but tax planning. You should plan about tax, right? So you earned an income for a particular fiscal year or financial year or earning year, right? So you have to pay for the tax, right? So what are the options available, you people, what are the options available in front of you to reduce your tax liability? That's an important rule, that's an important thing. So what are those uh, opportunities or the exemptions, deductions, and benefits which is offered by the tax authority, that the person, being an individual, being a businessman, being a person, being an associate, he should come to know. Then he should plan for it to reduce his tax liability. That is nothing but what we can call tax planning. So taxes can eat into your annual earnings. Whatever earnings which you have made, ನೀವು ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಗಳಿಸ್ತೀರ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, the taxes will eat. Correct? Taxes, ಈಗ so many expenditures you can do on that, right? Taxes you need to pay on that, right? So what exactly the statement reveals? Taxes can eat into your annual earnings. What annual earnings earned by you as an individual, taxes will reduce it, right? Reduces your income, what earnings which is made by you, right? it will reduce as a tax purpose we need to pay for it, or otherwise if the expenditures you have made on that particular earning purpose ಗೆ ನೀವು ಏನೆಲ್ಲ expenditure ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, tax ಎಷ್ಟು ಅದ್ರ portion of a tax you need to pay for it, right? Certain expenditure you need to pay for it. You need to reduce taxes ಅನ್ನು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೀವು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ವೈಲ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ the tax planning plays an important role, right? To counter this, to overcome this, tax planning is a legitimate way of reducing your tax liabilities in any given financial year. So taxes can eat your earnings in the sense that can you able to do the same thing, your earnings you can do, you can pay for the taxes. What is the use of it? What exactly earnings made by you, right? Isn't it? There is a tax consideration and legitimate way is there for you people. What are the concessions you will get? Certain deductions, certain exemptions, certain benefits which is offered by Income Tax Act or tax authorities, so that you can get aware about it and you can get utilize it, isn't it? So that will help you to reduce your tax liability. That will help you to minimize your tax liability, right? So tax planning is nothing but it's a legitimate way in the sense that it's a legal way, right? So it's a well structured legal way of reducing your tax liability in any financial year, whatever the financial year, ಯಾವುದೇ financial year ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ರಿಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್, ಲೆಜಿಟ್ಮೇಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್, isn't it? Then uh, it helps you to utilize the tax exemptions, right? You can able to utilize the tax exemption so that you can reduce your tax liability. Deductions available you can, so that you can able to reduce your tax liability, or the benefits offered by the authorities in the best possible way to minimize your liability, minimize your tax liability. You know that 80C to 80U different provisions are there, right? Deductions are there. The exemptions on provident fund is there, LIC is there, right? So a number of deductions you will get, exemptions you will get, so that by having that particular uh, knowledge that the provisions of income tax which is prescribed, right, as per its act, that being a person, being an individual, he can come to know. According to that, he can make a plan for it to reduce his tax liability, right? That is what we can call the system of tax planning. What exactly it will do? It will help you to reduce the tax as per the legitimate action, legitimate way of a it is a legitimate way of reducing the tax liability from an individual. That is nothing but tax planning. Okay, so the definition of tax planning is quite simple. Of course, it is the analysis of one's financial situation from the tax efficiency point of view. So what exactly we can able to come to know by looking into the definition. So ultimately, the definition or a meaning of a tax planning is very simple. It's quite simple. It is the analysis. The tax planning is the analysis of one's financial situations. So what financial situation as an individual he is facing. So whether he is a planned for it or not, whether he is utilizing all the deductions, exemptions, benefit which is availed from the income tax act or not. So this will come to know, this is what the system, this is what the process which we can come to know, that we can able to assess the ಒಬ್ಬ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಎನಲೈಸಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ವಾಟ್ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್, ವಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ taken into consideration. So that are all the matters we need to, that are all the things we need to assess in tax planning from the tax efficiency point of view. From the tax efficiency ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾರೆ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆರ್ ಎಸ್ ಎಸ್ ಸಿ by utilizing the different options available to him. So this is what exactly we can call the tax planning. So hope all of you are understood clearly what exactly tax planning, isn't it? Yes. Hello. Hope I am audible properly. Fine. So let us understand what are all the objectives of a tax planning. You know that main objectives is what exactly the objective? Objective is nothing but to reduce the tax liability with a prescription, or what we can say that the prescribed laws. By knowing all the uh, regulations and tax considerations, we are going to reduce the tax liability. That's it. That's the main motto or main objective of tax planning. So it's a focal part, which means a very important part of a financial planning. The financial planning, the personal financial planning, that is there, right? So it is a part of it. The tax planning is a important and very crucial part, very significant part of a financial planning. The person, he should do he should plan for his financial aspects, right? So for a year, what activities he has to do, what he has to taking into consideration, what his plan for the year, right? He should make a proper plan. That is what we can call the financial planning. So this financial planning, uh, the tax planning what we are discussing, it's a part of the financial planning, important part of a tax financial planning. It ensures or it facilitates savings on the taxes while simultaneously conforming to the legal obligations and requirements of the Income Tax Act 1961. So as for the legal obligations, we need simultaneously we can gain earnings, right? That particular year, that financial year, that fiscal year, what we can call, he can able to earn his income. Along with that, he can reduce his tax liability. Plus, he can reduce the he can reduce the tax liability. Along with that, he can save the taxes. So while simultaneously conforming the legal obligations and requirements of the Income Tax Act 1961, the primary concept of tax planning is to save money, right? He can save money and save taxes. That's it. And mitigate one's tax burden. However, this is not a sole objective. So mitigating the tax, once a tax burden, it means a reach that assessing that particular what the tax burden he is having, right? How he is going to save the money. It's not only the sole objectives, right? Other than that, it helps the tax planning, what we can call, it helps for the nation, right? It helps for the nation to take what we can say that to balance over the disposable income of an individual. It helps for the nation building, or the tax planning. If the person or an individual made a proper plan for the taxes, it means definitely that will uh, leads to bring a balance in economy. So that we will see in the next slide. So that are the basic. This is not only the sole objectives, certain objectives more than this uh, tax planning is having. So let us discuss the major advantages of a tax planning, so that we can able to understand clearly how the tax planning plays an important role. So as I said, it minimize the litigation in the sense that there are a lot of disputes and internal conflicts will be there between tax collectors and taxpayers, right? Whether it may be the state, or whether it may be the federal, local, or a foreign tax authority. So there is a friction between. There is a small conflict, or what we can say that there is the dispute between those people, that the tax collector, it may be the our taxpayers. So if the person made a proper plan with with an efficient use of a tax consideration, then there is no problem, no litigation, or litigation in the sense that it's just the process of legal action, right? That may not be there. It will reduce the legal litigations. Why? Because if they follow correctly the tax consideration and tax aspects, right, as per the regulations, as per the tax consideration, as per the the prescribed norms and provisions, then it will reduce it will reduce that kind of litigation and legal action and all that. So that was not there, right? That it doesn't give a chance to go for a legal litigations and all that. So it will resolve all the disputes if that is there in between the tax collectors and taxpayers. That should not be there if if it is having, if the individual is having a efficient and effective tax planning. It will reduce the or minimize the litigation. So minimizing litigation saves the taxpayer from the legal liability. So it will the he can, if the that is there, if the legal litigation, legal process of action is there, it means it will consume much uh, the money, or he can spend more for this particular process. If it is not there or if it is reduced, it means definitely he can save, uh, it can minimize the save, it can the it can help you to minimizing the litigation, saves the taxpayer from the his tax liability or legal liability. He can able to save for it. That is what we can call the minimize the litigation. And to reduce the tax liabilities, as I said, we have discussed so far, right, how it will helps to reduce the tax liabilities by different within various benefits offered by this act, right? Every taxpayer wishes to reduce their tax burden and save money for the future. You can reduce your payable tax. Sorry. So you can reduce your payable tax by arranging your investment, right, within the various benefits, exemptions, deductions, as we discussed so far, offered under Income Tax Act 1961. What are all the considerations and norms provisions are there as per the Income Tax Act? He used to use it. The act offers many planning investment schemes that can significantly reduce your tax liability. So what are all the schemes, what are all the deductions available for the individual assessee? He can be able to reduce his tax liability. That efficient tax planning, if it is having, it means definitely it can reduce the tax liability. And it ensures the economic stability. How it ensures the economic stability? In the sense that his contribution is good to the nation. If he has made a proper tax planning, if he is paying taxes to the government properly, if as per the utilizing the different concession schemes, the proper utilization of the resources, which is our proper utilization of the schemes which is available in the Income Tax Act 1961, definitely that ensure economic stability. So taxpayers' money is devoted to the betterment of the country. You know that the tax the collected from the individual assessee, what we can call, yeah, that can be kept into the betterment of the society, that can protect the public interest, right? So that so that if the more taxes which is collected from the government with an efficient way, in the sense that definitely that leads to that leads to what we can call, that facilitates to stabilize the economic activities, or the to bring a stability in the economic activities, that is possible through the efficient and effective tax planning. So that is only they given here. Taxpayers' money is devoted to the betterment of the society. Effective tax planning and management provide a healthy inflow of white money that results in the sound progress of the economy, right? So white money, if that what it will give, what will be the outcome of white money? It means it will there is a efficient and effective progress that will be there in the economy. That is a sound progress, what we can call, that is there, the healthy inflow of money that will be there with an efficient tax planning, right? So this benefits both the citizens as the economy. Being a citizen, it can helps to reduce the tax liability by availing the different schemes and deductions available as per the Income Tax Act. And it helps to the economy. In economy perspective, it helps to stabilize it. It can bring a balance between the inequality or inequilibrium in the economic activities, so that it will helps to ensure the economic stability. Ultimately, it will provide the healthy inflow and white money that results in the sound progress. White money in the sense that the taxed money, right? The legal money, what we can call, that results in the sound progress, the effective progress, that you can get it by the efficient or effective tax plan, right? to leverage the productivity. So tax planning again, it will helps to uh, what we can call the control the productivity. How it means the taxable by the main objectives of a the tax planning is to channelizing the funds. The funds will be utilized or get into invested into different income generating plans. This ensures the optimum utilization of funds for a productive causes. It means, so where he has to invest, he need to do the personal financial planning, right? The tax planning is a part of it, as I said, right? So the different schemes are there, right? Whether you need to go for a provident for, whether you need to go for a life insurance, whether you need to go for a, any other what we can call uh, the different equity linked savings schemes are there. So a number of options are there. ELSS, what we can call equity linked savings schemes ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Next ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ in detail ಆಗಿ. So in that options, he is going to invest it in, it means he can take a control over his productivity, as well as he can control over he can utilize his funds for a productive and productive causes, for a effective causes he can use for it. He can gain a return over there, he can get a benefit over there by reducing the tax liability. So ultimately, tax planning, what we can call it, helps to minimize the process of legal actions, or minimize the litigation, as well as it helps to reduce the tax liability as well, right? By availing the different investment within the various benefits he can offer, the income tax act which is uh, offered to the investors or the taxpayers. And to ensure economic stability, it helps for the economic stability as well, right? Then to make a control over why, how we can be able to control over the productivity, in the sense that by investing into the different funds and different taxable sources from a different income generating plans. So right, so that he can reduce the income as well, sorry, he can reduce the tax liability, so that he can increase his total earnings of that particular fiscal year. That is possible by the efficient tax plan. So important part of this uh, unit, that is the types of tax planning. So you know that what are the different types of tax planning. So it is a short range tax planning, it may be, or a long term, what we can say that long term tax planning, or we can say that permissive tax planning and purposive tax planning, which you have studied in last semester itself. So even we will study in detail in this particular unit. So most people merely pursue tax planning as a process that helps them to reduce their tax liabilities. However, it is also about investing in the right securities at the right time to achieve your financial goals. So, what exactly the different tax planning, the methods or types of a tax planning which are there, by having, by getting different, the what you can call that, the processes are the tax consideration, he can reach out what their financial goals, he can accomplish their financial goals with efficient investing into the right securities at the right time, right? So that is possible in the effective tax planning methods that we will discuss in detail. So most people merely pursue the tax planning, right? Everyone need to adopt the tax planning, because he should plan for it. Then only he can save the he can reduce the tax liability. Otherwise, he won't. If he don't know that particular tax aspects, tax consideration, and tax planning, definitely he cannot able to what he cannot able to reduce his tax liability. So every person, most of the people, they need to know about the tax planning aspects. Then as a process that helps them to reduce the tax liabilities, as we are discussing so far, right? So however, it is also about investing in the right securities at the right time. So tax planning helps to, ಈಗ ನಾವು tax planning ಅಂದ್ರೆ we should plan for it, how, what are all the options available to reduce your tax liability. ಸೊ ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ರೈಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್, ವೆದರ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟೀಸ್, ವೆದರ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು investment you can made into the different mutual funds, where whatever the different options available for you as per the income tax act, right? so that how you are going to reduce the tax, that is matters more, right? By having the sufficient and required knowledge of tax planning, he can do for it. So how it is go for, how he can save the tax liability in the short range of tax planning, and how it is possible in long run, right? Or long term planning, right? Or we can say that how it is possible in the, how it is possible in the permissive tax planning, as well as one more, purposive tax planning. So by looking at this uh, uh, picture, you can able to understand what are the different types of tax planning. So one is long range tax planning, one more is short range tax planning, permissive tax planning, and purposive tax planning. So short range tax planning is nothing but the he can plan for it. Being an individual, he can plan for it to save the tax liability or reduce the taxable income in a legal way at the end of the income year, at the end of the fiscal year. That is nothing but ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ಯಾವಾಗ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇವರು ಫಿಸ್ಕಲ್ at the end of the fiscal year or financial year, at the end, the final year, at the end of that particular day or the particular month of that particular year, then in that time he should plan for the reduce the tax liability. That is nothing but short range tax planning, right? Throughout the year, long range in the long range tax planning, what does it mean? In the sense that he can plan for the beginning. ಇವರು ಎಂಡಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ರಿಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಲೈಬಿಲಿಟಿ, ಹಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್. ಲಾಂಗ್ ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಯರ್, ಫಾರ್ ದ particular financial year or fiscal year, he should plan for to reduce the tax liability. At the beginning only he can able to plan for it. That is long range. At the end, that is a short range. Permissive in the sense that the name itself, permission is required to do the tax plan on this kind of activities, this kind of planning. What permissions? Permissions in the, you know that permissions, it means they get a the license, what we can call. He get a authorized one. He can obey the rules and regulations by the what income tax authorities and tax consideration. He should follow it, right? Then only he can make a plan for it. That is what we can call permissive tax planning. And purposive, there is a specific purpose is there for the tax planning, right? Whether it may be what we can call the correct selection of an investment, right? That is a purpose. His purpose, it may be, or we can say that he can residential status, he can make a changes, right? That he may the residential status ಅನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಲೈಬಿಲಿಟಿನ ರಿಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪರ್ಪಸಿವ್, ರೈಟ್? Or diversifying his business activities, he can extend or expand its business activities. That is the main purpose. It means he can make a plan for it, right? So this is what exactly we can call the different kinds of tax plannings are there, that we'll discuss